Hi, in this video, we will be covering what a variable is in programming, JavaScript programming in particular, how a variable works, and then how you write one inside of JavaScript. So, to begin, I think Google provides us with a very solid explanation of what a variable is. So if we look up what a variable is, Google gives us a nice little snippet from Wikipedia. And it says, in mathematics, a variable is a symbol and placeholder for a quantity that may change or any mathematical object. Now, in programs, there are variables or placeholders for values all the time. And these values are subject to change. So, for example, you may have a program that needs to take the name of a user. Since the person's name cannot be known ahead of time, a variable must exist to be ready to essentially catch and hold this value. I like to think of variables as buckets, and in JavaScript, you don't need to know the kind of bucket that it is. Variables in JavaScript are general purpose buckets that can hold any kind of data. Now, more curious people, you may be wondering how these buckets actually work. Where do they exist on the computer? Well, we won't get into too deep, but the nutshell is that these variables are allocated to a physical space on your computer, where the computer then takes the name of the user, for example, and puts it into that physical space or that bucket to hold and to store it for later use. It does this by translating the name of the user into ones and into zeros, which is the language of the computer, and putting these ones and zeros into the bucket. So now that we got the explanation out of the way, I will be showing you how to write a variable in JavaScript. So in our code editor, you can create a new file by right-clicking on the sidebar and then pressing or right-clicking and selecting new file like that. I already have a new file open, so I will not create a new one. However, make sure you name the file something with .js at the end. This allows the computer to know that your file that you've just written is a JavaScript file. Now, to create a JavaScript variable, we use something called a keyword. A keyword is a reserved word in JavaScript that cannot be used for any other purpose. All programming languages have keywords, and they are recognized by a compiler or an interpreter to do something special. For now, this definition will suffice, but in future videos we will touch on compilers and interpreters more. Regardless, we use the keyword var, and then after this keyword var, we can write a name for a variable. Typically, it's tradition in programming culture for when a programmer does or attempts something new, we use the phrase hello world. So we'll write our variable as hello world in camel case notation. Camel case notation is a common naming notation used by programmers for naming variables. It's defined by having the first letter of the first word lowercase and the subsequent letters of the following words to be capital case. We put a semicolon at the end of the variable, and this acts as a period to our first line of code. And there we have it. We have written our first JavaScript variable. Now, I know this doesn't look like much yet, but don't worry. In the following videos to come, we will build upon this. Thanks. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.